they are going to withdraw. But at the same time, the process of withdrawal, you must understand, takes a lot of time. Right? You're going to move every bit of things, and it's not easy. Right? So, I don't know what likely to happen to Syria, but everybody would agree, I'm sure, that it is not very good. It's not looking very good at all. Right? Because at the end of the day, people suffer. You have 1.8 million refugees living in Jordan, for example, 2.5 or 2.8 in Turkey, and internally displaced about 4 million. And in Europe, you have about, by the end of this year, this will hit about 1 million in Germany alone. And you're looking at this huge mass of people, and you have to do something about it. I hope the peace process, my hope, but I'm not confident whether the peace process will try to be, will be successful at all. But as you can see, although very recently I wrote a paper on Russian air strikes in Syria, and now that I remember, I made a serious mistake, which was I actually called for a military solution at that time, not really knowing that it will become so messy. And if I had known, I would not have written that. I must admit. Right? I must admit that. Okay. This is also quite interesting, just to share what I wrote in the paper, that Russia always maintains that they are bombing the hell out of ISIS. Actually, that's not true at all. Although they have denied it, from the very beginning, you can see they have been concentrating their air strikes near Aleppo, Homs, and other areas, which were actually the Syrian army was facing a lot of problems at that time. Right? And they bombed the hell out of those opposition forces who were about to take on the real the Assad forces. In other words, it was aimed at giving a lift to the Assad government so that they can be negotiatingly in a strong phase. All these ideas about ISIS is not true. Russians really didn't bomb. Maybe when the Americans and others started criticizing too much, they made some token strikes near Raqqa, but that's about all. They were not very active, not at all. And you can see the area controlled by the so-called Islamic State. Oh, by the way, there will be another forum, I think, next month, which should be interesting. Right? We would be talking about ISIS and other forces in the Middle East. Right? That will be much more interesting. So you see how they are progressing and they are still intact. Right? But having said that, they have actually the ground forces belonging to what is known as the Democratic Syrian Forces, which is a combination of Arab plus Kurdish forces. They have been successful in pushing the ISIS forces out from the northern part of Syria with heavy bombing, with the help of heavy bombing from Uncle Sam. Courtesy of Uncle Sam, they have been able to take on, and they have made some successes. Also inside Iraq, all right? But that's a different topic altogether. I wouldn't like to talk about it right now. This is much more complete pictures. You can see that. There are strikes. So everybody is trying to save their own clients. That is the problem. And everybody is doing it in the name of common people, which I don't think is a fair thing to do. You do whatever you want to do, but say it openly. It's a very peculiar situation. It's a very peculiar situation in Syria. Friends of A is attacking friends of D, and friends of D attacking friends of A, and everybody is saying we are against F. Doesn't make any sense to me. That is the situation actually. But as I said, I wouldn't like to talk about it now. This is interesting, it's in Ukraine. We never talk about that. In Central Europe. You see how all these red dots are Russian military bases. That's what I'm saying. That is why I say, if there is to be a third world war, it will be from Central Europe, not from the Middle East. Because historically that has been true. And you see how the Russians have moved. Look at, for example, at Crimea area, for example, and it allows them the access to the Black Sea and ultimately into the Mediterranean Sea. So Putin had a long-range view. I'm sure you know that he was a KGB agent. He was, right? And there is a famous photograph of President Kennedy, and there he is next to Kennedy and Khrushchev, a very young Putin, and that is a proof that he was a Russian KGB agent. Now let me present to you what you have been waiting for. I don't know why. I don't understand this. What I'm saying is, if he is in power, right, there's definitely a possibility there could be a third world war. No doubt about it. For a number of reasons. Somebody has actually commented, a number of psychiatrists, they looked at his videos and his behavior, and they said that if they were to compare him with any other mental patient, he will be included. Top of the list. It's very unfortunate that a man like Donald Trump has come into prominence, and 10,000, 15,000 miles away, we have to discuss him, which I actually don't like at all. He is not a politician, you know that. He is not. He is a businessman. He is a builder. He became very famous by creating Taj Mahal, not the real one, but a casino in Atlantic City, right? Which is a gambling city in New Jersey, in the US. He also became very famous by building the Trump Tower in New York City, which still exists, unfortunately. He's a real estate man where he made money. He became bankrupt 4 or 5 times, but he will boast he's the most successful businessman. He will also tell you that, well, he started very small. His father gave him $1 million. I would like to have $1 million. That would be nice. Right. So he comes from that background. He has his, I don't know whether you know it or not, he has actually Scottish ancestry. His mother came from a very small town from Scotland, right, which he visited and stayed there for only half an hour. This guy is really nuts, as I all can say. Why did he come to such a prominence? That is the saddest story. Because of the fact that the Republican Party, for a long period of time, became so much of ideologically oriented and split into the right-wing one and what I would say level-headed ones. Right? The right-wing one was led by a new party within the Republican Party called the Tea Party, which had some ideological beliefs, like the state should be small, meaning the government will be small. There should not be too much of interference in private lives. Even education should be left to the parents. There should not be any state-directed education system. What else? Well, they also believed that America, of course, every American believes it's a God-gifted state, which is particularly important for all of us to remember. They see that America is actually God-gifted. They believe that, and that's why they believe in exceptionalism. I also happen to teach a course on American foreign policy, if you would like to know. Right? I love teaching that for a number of reasons. Now, because American society fascinates me. It's really fascinating. They coexist everywhere, these kinds of ideas. I have seen in New York City, for example, taxi drivers praying on top of their taxis. Right? Believe me, I have seen people praying outside the subway stations. Right? I have seen hijab-wearing women in small cities in Kansas, which is very highly conservative. Right? I have seen Muslims going about doing their own things in different parts of the states, including Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., right in front of Pentagon. Pentagon, there is a shopping complex called the Pentagon City, huge one, and all you can see is military officers going fast. God knows what they do, but you can see tudung-wearing people moving around, no problem. Right? But at the same time, you keep hearing about Islamophobia, which I must admit does exist in the US. Right? It does exist. And this guy, wow, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us. Once he said he is going to shoot Muslims with bullets made of pork. How is he going to do that? Unbelievable, isn't it? And forget about his comments about Mexicans being rapists and drug pushers. Right? Highly objectionable. And you want me to talk about his foreign policy? He has no foreign policy. He doesn't. Seriously, he doesn't. He is yet to put a foreign policy team around him. Nobody wants to touch him with 10-foot pole. They're so afraid. So far, only two very unknown men. One was a chief, one of the top CIA analysts, and other was an unknown army general. They have come forward to help him, but reluctantly. There's no known people around him. So what this man will do, only he knows and his God knows, frankly speaking. But definitely, he's irrational, no doubt. But having said that, I can tell you one thing. If he is ever elected, which I don't think he would, I know that it's very difficult to predict the future. In fact, my supervisors have always said, don't be a bad political scientist, because bad political scientists, the first thing they do is to predict events. Don't do that. So I'm very careful. But I hope that he is not elected, frankly speaking, because that will bring disaster to the US. No doubt about it. It will be totally isolated. He will be more unpopular than George Bush. No doubt. Right? And everything that President Obama, what is your opinion? I think 5 years from now, you will see that compared to the then president, whether it's Hillary Clinton or somebody else, Obama will be up there, definitely, at the top of the list. Right? But if I'm given another chance, I will talk about Obama later on. But you see, compared to him, he's so unpredictable. But having said that, I must also tell you that the US has an institution. The State Department is there, the Pentagon is there, and most important of all, the Congress will be there. As you know, in the American system, the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judiciary branch, we call it, they would actually act against each other to keep the power. It's not that one power, executive, dominates everything. No, they don't. So his power will be checked. His power will be checked if he does some irrational things to do, he may be stopped in track by the Congress. It's possible, provided it is controlled by the Democratic Party, not by the Republican. Now, having said that, if you look at the contemporary situation, those Republican parties, the established group, are desperately trying to make him more and more unpopular and not to make him their official candidate. Let me repeat. That is the position. So the Democratic Party is very happy. Hillary Clinton is very happy that, well, she doesn't have to do much. Most of the job will be done by the Republican Party. Because they didn't understand initially, and I blame them for this. Right? Extremism of any ideas is bad. When the Tea Party was saying all kinds of things, the Republican Party just kept quiet, didn't do anything. And now that this monster has been created, now you want to control it? Probably not. It will be extremely difficult, next to impossible. Right? For the first time, I was shocked to see Americans fighting amongst themselves, which reminded me only that also happened in Chicago, by the way, during President Johnson's time, in the famous riots during the Democratic Party convention, right? And it reminded me of that, when the two groups were fighting against each other. Believe me, it never happens in America, but it happened. So that much, he's the guy who successfully divided the American public. All right. I'll just end by quoting, sorry.